Hello, and welcome to Totally Schway, a podcast about the DCAU. My name is Mary,
And my name is Luke.
and today is a bit overcast, a little bit hot. Not really hot. I mean, if you're from a place like where I'm from, this is reasonable for the end of July. So, but I don't like the summer, so it is not okay.
Also, there's the fact that it's June, not July. So
Did I say
you
July?
did, yeah.
Oh, sorry, the end of June. This is Oklahoma weather for quite a lot of the year, actually. Uh, I find it really funny. I'm just gonna quickly say this. Like, I find it really funny that people in the UK, um, they have this moment in I think it's around this time every year where it just suddenly turns on, and it's just summer for 2 weeks. Everybody forgets how to drive. They walk around without shirts on, and for some reason, all of the ice cream is gone, as if they don't make enough in the world. And Luke gets grumpy. Um, do you have any news today?
Well, I suppose I can let everybody know. I mean, it's probably a little late now, but McFarlane Toys announced and released, I should say, some Target exclusive Batman the Animated Series action figures. There was a classic Batman, as they call him, that looks very much like the old Kenner Combat Belt Batman from the 90s, with Ra's al Ghul, the Grey Ghost, and Killer Croc. And all four of them had a piece of the Build-A-Figure of Jonah Hex. So, yeah, that's nice. Target exclusive, sold out immediately. They said they're going to have more in stock in July, so, keep your eyes out for them. I've managed to order a set through my regular UK-based retailer, so I'm not hurting for them, but, everyone else, keep your eyes out if you fancy any of those figures or want to build an elderly Jonah Hex that will scowl at you.
If anybody sees the Crypto Squishmallow, send me a photograph so I can actually see that it's real. Because I have been scouring the internet and I've only found one photo, and everybody seems to be sharing this one photo. I think it's it's a really cool, like, social media. I can't remember the name of it, but whoever actually posted it, it's really cool. So just look up Crypto Squishmallow or Crypto Pillow, and then they'll show up. Like, that's their picture. It has their handle in it as well. Their username handle. I don't know. This isn't AOL. Yeah, is that it? Is that all the news today?
Yeah, pretty much.
Uh, so let's get into it. Today's episode is about what the heck characters. What I mean by that is a lot. Like, it doesn't necessarily have, or what the heck villains, I should say, not just characters. I thought it would be a good idea to do something like this because there are some of the villains, it's like you question, and it's not necessarily question as a bad thing. It's like you just want to question things, like, why, and then you'll end up getting to it once you just, like, say it out loud and all of that. And by the way, the question will not be in this because that is not a bad guy. I would call the question a hero. So would you like to start out with your first hero?
My first hero?
Villain.
Villain.
I guess it's July as well.
All right, yeah, so the first villain I picked I used a less PG title for my notes. But yes, what the heck villains. The first one on my list is the Condiment King, because he is gloriously absurd.
Yeah. Would you say ostentatious?
Maybe. I mean, it's not the first word that comes to mind. Absurd is the word that comes to mind,
Yeah.
I think, of him.
I've
Deliberately so.
Yeah, any of the O words, except for ordinary.
Yeah, very true. But, he is... I suppose the thing to mention about him is that technically he isn't really a villain. He's someone who's a victim of the Joker who was mind controlled into becoming a daft supervillain. and his gimmick is that he dresses up like a packet of sauce with a pickle balaclava, I suppose, and he has ketchup and mustard guns that he uses to uh, harm people. And if people get too close, he's always got his hot sauce that he sprays in their mouth, which is a gross violation. Um,
See, there's not many people in this world that the condiment king could actually like just from putting the sauce on, except me,
hmm.
because I am allergic to ketchup. I'm allergic to the red dye in ketchup. And this isn't one of those things where it's like almond moms, oh, my kid's allergic to red dye, something, something, just because I saw it on TikTok. No, I'm actually really allergic to it. I
Mhm.
really am.
So there you go. The condiment king, excuse me, is a very serious and dangerous threat to you, I guess. To everyone else, he's kind of a joke. When Batman first meets him, he just punches him in the gut and goes, "Be quiet."
Rude.
So yeah,
Rude.
and as I kind of alluded to earlier, the thing that makes him truly what the heck as well is that it was all done without his consent. That his crime spree was not of his own choosing. It's something the Joker had him do because he had slighted the Joker by not letting him barge into a comedy contest after submissions for contestants had ended and tried to take the trophy for himself. Um, he and his fellow judges on the panel voted to kick him out because he was being disruptive.
I'm one of those people where I'm just like, I would never just want a trophy just for having a trophy.
Mm-hmm.
Like I want to win. Like the point, like what's the point of just like getting a trophy
Mm-hmm.
if you haven't done anything for it? I hated when I was in gymnastics when I was like, I guess in kindergarten or whatever. I was not great. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I was not great. Did I get a participation ribbon? Yes, I did. Even at that age, I was like, I don't want this. I wanted to win and I lost, so I need to get better. I just quit. Um, um, but I'm just not one of those people that just I wasn't a participation person. I wanted to either win or learn from my loss. And the thing I learned from my loss in gymnastics is although I liked it, I I have a different rhythm to everybody and I beat I make that beat to my own drum and I make noises when I'm doing stuff like ha ha cha and stuff like that, even when I'm just like spinning around with the ribbon. And lots of people didn't like that. So I do you want to know what? I think I left the ribbon. I'm gonna have to ask my mother about that one day because I left the ribbon at the gym because they said do 5 moves on the mat. I did 4. Didn't realize I had only done 4. And they gave me, well, 4th place because I was the 4th one there.
They could say in a three-person contest.
No, and they gave me a random participation thing, and I think I left the participation one down there, whereas I think my mom had the other one. So that's what I think about people that want trophies that aren't theirs.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good tangent.
Yeah, yeah. So there we go. The whole what the heck thing is absurd concept, and also like just how nasty
Yeah.
the origin was. So over to you for your pick, Mary.
So speaking of trophies, I'd like to talk about an Olympian that was in BTAS,
Mm-hmm.
and that is Tony Romulus.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I think of Alien. Is there an alien called Romulus or something?
There's a movie called Alien Romulus, I think.
Okay. Um, yeah. So Tony is an athlete, a pretty good athlete, and it really sucks because he just wants to keep getting better and better and better, and he can't seem to pass a certain like threshold that doesn't really matter because it's only a threshold that he put on himself, in my opinion. And then we get to see Professor Milo,
Hmm.
or I like to call him Professor Creepo. And yeah, and we always know what happens with Milo. It's always a bit of a weird one. So he gives Tony the serum that makes him turn into a werewolf. And that is part of the name of the episode that um this is all in, and that's Moon of the Wolf. And yeah, I have to be honest with you, I did not like the episode as much as I like other episodes. I didn't hate it by any means, but I did have to think about the character a little bit more after I watched it because it seemed very flat when I first watched it. And then I think it was the next day or the day after, I was like, well, actually, no, that's not that flat. It's very there's a lot of different things about this character that I see in a lot of people in like my real life. They want to get more of something with either a substance or something that will help improve, whether that's like protein powders or energy drinks or something like that. And uh, Tony goes a different route, uh, and it's kind of a bit. He doesn't actually know it at the beginning, does he?
No, what? Sorry.
That he's going to actually turn into a werewolf.
No, no. 'Cause
Yeah,
he snatches the serum off of Milo and wolfs it down.
yeah,
Intended.
twice.
Well, yes. Yeah, but the first time, then he's like, "Aha, I've already taken it. What are you gonna do?" And then he has his side effects of. He doesn't like turn into a full werewolf. He gets kind of like half werewolfy, and Professor Milo says to him, "Well, now you've got lycanthropy, but it's only a mild case. The bad news is you can't really cure mild lycanthropy, but you can cure extreme lycanthropy.
Hmm.
So we're going to take your disease to the next level, and then I'll give you a cure." He takes the disease to the next level, turning him into a werewolf, and then adds, "I'll give you the cure, but after you do a couple of things for me." And basically, he traps him, ensnares him in his service.
Yeah, and then obviously Batman comes in, and then Tony ends up wanting. Obviously, I don't think he willingly knows that he wants to kill Batman, but the werewolf that Tony becomes tries to kill Batman, and they have a. It's actually quite a cool little fight. It literally reminds me of like the Coliseum, the little area that they're in, but obviously on a smaller scale.
Yeah.
Um, so I thought that was really great. Um, but yeah, I say this character is what the heck because, well, first they were in a room with Professor Milo, and they were disgusted or creeped out, and it's something that we can all kind of see. Obviously, not the werewolf part, but we can see um, people trying to um, get ahead, maybe the wrong ways, and that's kind of why I say it's what the heck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to do your second one, or do you want me to do mine?
We'll do my second one. Let's treat it like a tennis match, back and forth.
Cool.
So my next one comes from Superman the Animated Series. For a change, I'm not just talking about Batman stuff.
What?
It's the Promethean. So this is the artificial being that was strapped to an asteroid and launched off into space. And when Superman is helping to clear the asteroid field as it approaches Earth, and he's breaking them up, he finds that there's a being strapped to the biggest one, and he has a moral quandary. He's like, well, obviously I've got to destroy this asteroid, but can't do anything to harm this living creature because it still seems to be alive even in the vacuum of space. And then as the sun light gets on the asteroid, it kind of wakes the creature up, and it solves that problem for Superman. It breaks free, and then it falls to Earth. And it turns out it's a construction robot that is powered by heat. But it kind of just got really greedy and consumed everything on its home planet, and then the people that created it ended up strapping it to a big lump of rock and launching it into space. And it's just there's no like there's nothing that you would consider like pure sentience. It doesn't have like intellect. It doesn't speak. It's very instinctual, um, and it just seeks out heat wherever it goes, always consuming. And this is kind of like the first, certainly one of the first villains where it's not. It doesn't have any like relatable motivations or psychologically relatable, I suppose, because I think we can all relate to hunger, right? We all know what it's like to feel hungry.
Have you
Uh,
seen me?
and the Promethean is just constantly hungry and it's constantly consuming. And it was just so left field that it's just this strange alien creation just floating out in space that just randomly turns up and then decides to consume everything.
Get rid of him in the end.
They froze him in a lake, and without heat, he went to sleep basically. And then
Yes.
they didn't actually show what they did with him afterwards. 'Cause I think the episode ended with his like hand sticking out of the lake.
Not Tomb Raider, Terminator style.
Yeah, I suppose so. It wasn't giving you a thumbs up or a
No.
middle finger, so
Oh well.
I think that was Hot Shots Part 2 when he had the middle finger in the hand. But anyway, but yeah, I assume that they then just sent him back into space and just said it's someone else's problem now.
Hmm.
And the fact that they didn't actually show a resolution for it is also a bit of a like what the hell moment. Like, what did they actually do with him? Maybe they
Yeah.
kept him encaged in the ice and kept him below ground. I don't know.
I mean, with global warming and everything, that's not gonna keep for very long.
No, no. And if they did just launch him into space and went, well, that's someone else's problem. What happened to him? Where did he go?
That doesn't seem like a Superman thing to do, does it?
It doesn't, but it might not have been his call. I don't know. That ambiguity is
And that's
another.
why it's what the hell.
Yes, yeah. So, should we go to your second one, Mary?
My second one is Amazo. I just think it's with Amazo, it kind of makes me think of certain times in my life. Obviously, I was not like ever the smartest person or whatever, but I have been used a lot by other people to gain something from. And when I first saw the Amazo character, it was just so heartbreaking. The second time I saw it, I've seen it obviously many times. Watch this. The second time, I was like, badass. Um, because you realize that sentient really has gained a control that a lot of people wish they could, but also Amazo could destroy everything in a blink of an eye if they wanted to. And having such power and an artificial intelligence is frightening. And I say that because as human beings, we are very empathetic. We have a certain amount of care. Well, most of us do have a lot of care. And with artificial intelligence that was made for, I think it was Professor Ivo.
Yes.
Yeah, Professor Ivo, specifics, put specific things into this sentient, and obviously Lex got a hold of Amazo, and if someone like Lex gets a hold of like artificial intelligence that is this powerful, it can be very destructive. And as we see in as things progress, that that blink of an eye almost happens. And what's funny about that is Lex is the one who kind of no, Lex did use Amazo in such a horrible way, and then he is the one that ends up showing Amazo in a way that kind of like a little bit of care, like teaching Amazo a little bit of care. Um, as much care as you can have for an artificial intelligence. And yeah, but the what the heck thing about Amazo is imagine some of the people in power now around the world.
I try not to, but
Imagine if they had sentience like a Mazo, we would have to move to Mars. I mean, I'm not against moving to Mars at all, but I think it's going to be the trip there because they have to have Diet Coke there. Because if they don't have Diet Coke, then I'm done.
If they had a Mazo, he could just
I
make
know
Diet
that,
Coke
yeah.
appear.
But I think I would be good to a Mazo. I'd be like, Mazo, take the day off. Upload some like cool pictures or something of yourself. Be cool.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose you've touched on it there, haven't you, when you said that he's got the power to end everything in the universe, and he doesn't.
Yeah.
He's just confused about who he is and what the purpose is of life. And Lex Luthor says the purpose in life there is that there is no purpose.
It reminds me of, like I said, reminds me of certain times in my childhood and in my adulthood where people pretend to be your friend just so that they can get something out of you. And it's some pretty shit, to be honest. But
Yeah.
it shows that even if it's artificial intelligence, humans will always still have empathy. And humans can teach empathy to a degree.
Mm.
Rather than just having a Mazo think, oh, humans are just another thing that can be vanished. They learn from Lex and others that humans care and they are different from, like space rocks and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Some of us are, anyway.
Mm.
Okay. Shall I go on to my next one?
If you would like.
I would like, yes.
I'm just looking at my cat, by the way.
Yeah, in his sleep, he's like rubbing his feet against, I guess, my monitor, and it's making a strange noise. But anyway, who was my third one? Oh, I remember now. Yes. So my final one is Eclipso. So Eclipso is basically this snake god that lives within a black diamond. It's like all of the souls of the ancient snake people that used to live on Earth and fought with humanity thousands and thousands of years ago. And when the snake people saw that they were losing their war, they kind of basically all committed suicide and trapped their souls inside of a black diamond. And anyone that touches the black diamond will become possessed by them. And there's a really strong WTF moment when I think it's Hawk Girl tries to break the black diamond.
Oh, yeah, with her nth. Is it
Yes,
nth?
I believe it's Hawk Girl. She smashes it with her nth metal mace,
Mm-hmm.
which causes shards of the diamond to go flying everywhere.
Oh,
And
Lord.
everyone in the room, apart from the Flash,
Yeah.
ends up getting possessed by Eclipso.
Yeah.
So Eclipso's basically taken over the rest of the Justice League, and that
This is in the first. This is JLA, not JLU, right?
yes, that's
Yeah.
right. It's in Justice League, not Justice League Unlimited. I mean, it's not the best episode. It has some fun stuff in it. I like Morpheer
Yeah, Morpheer is cool.
when he does he gets his his how do you describe it? He gets his role promoting laxatives, I suppose, don't they?
Or was it Athlete's Foot Cream?
There was something for an upset stomach, wasn't it?
Oh,
He
yeah.
talks about getting itchy, burning bowel movements or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, and the Flash objected to talking about his bowel movements on TV, so he left, and they brought in Morpheer instead.
I would talk about stuff like that if they paid me. I would. I'd be like, yes, I do have stomach problems. Oh, well, only if I actually did have stomach problems and did take the medication, but Morpheer.
Well, who's to say? Morpheer, excuse me, is a very old man, so he's bound to have all sorts of problems. But just like the thing that I liked about the DCAU version of Eclipso was how they incorporated the comic design. So the comic design, he looks like a pixie almost, with a purple pixie hat and pixie shoes, etc., etc. And they have this army general who gets possessed by Eclipso, and he wants the most destructive force on Earth so that he can black out the sun and allow the snake people to take over again. And so, they target a general in charge of the nuclear arsenal. But then they see the Justice League.
Well, I'll wait. I'll do my gasp again.
Okay.
Do you
Gasp.
think that this is where that stupid conspiracy theory is where people are snake people?
No, it's been around for a lot longer than
Okay.
Calypso has, I'm
They
certain
just
of it.
watched Justice League. They're like,
Maybe.
yo.
But, oh my god, now it all makes sense. But no, so the General sees the Justice League, determines that they are actually far more powerful than Nukes and wants to possess them. And he asks a soldier, how do you contact the Justice League? They're like, well, you don't. They just kind of turn up if there's a crazy person in a costume. He's like, noted. So he puts on a comic book accurate Eclipso costume and acts crazy to lure in the Justice League, and he ends up taking over Wonder Woman. But I thought that was a nice way of incorporating like the kind of silly comic book design. So thumbs up to whoever did that.
Hmm.
I have a feeling it was James Tucker, but I say that without looking at the credits, only because I know how much he loves the comic book source material. And when he designed a lot of the characters for Justice League Unlimited, particularly the villains, he just brought in their comic book costumes, like Dr. Polaris with like the magnet on his head. So yeah, Eclipso, very weird character. You wouldn't have seen something like that in Batman the Animated Series. Maybe in Superman, maybe, but definitely not Batman.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. She has a lot to say about Eclipso. It's
No,
clearly
I
a
actually
favorite.
don't have a lot to say about Eclipso because I'm just like, um, yeah. It's one of those things where it's like snake people. I don't mind snakes, so I'd be fine. But it's the fact that like they probably don't want humans to be around,
No,
so.
they don't.
So my third and final. Wait, was that your third?
Yeah, it was.
Oh wow, we're on our third and final one. I had to take one off, by the way, because I got it confused with another one. So I'll talk about that some other time. But my third and final, what the heck character is Ace from the Royal Flush Gang. Again, I think there's a little bit of a theme here with mine that it's more realistic. What the heck? I mean, not completely realistic, but as in the reasons I think it's what the heck. Ace was used by Waller.
No, well, yes, I suppose. I guess it is kind of connected to Cadmus.
Yeah.
Say the government.
Let's say the government. Um, inadvertently by Waller in a way. And then obviously she becomes part of the Royal Flush Gang, and they just use her. That's like their only reason for really having her, really.
Yeah, I mean, Joker really does use it, doesn't
Yeah. And then you get to the Joker, who doesn't even hide the fact that he's using her. And how real is that? Obviously not the mind control and everything like that, but how awful and real is that? How often do we see that something like that happening in, in real world talk? We see it so much. We see it happen with political people, we see it happen with actors, actresses, singers, um, people just being used and abused, and the people that are doing the using and the abusing really don't care. They will forget about that person in about 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And well, I don't think the Joker will forget about Ace, but
Yeah, you remind.
yeah.
I was just thinking then about something very interesting from that episode
Mm-hmm.
with Joker using Ace. So basically, she's got the power. She can like psychically like she psychically alter people's minds, right? So she just like looks at them and she can like make their minds go blank. She can make them go crazy, etc. Joker's plan is to broadcast her on TV and drive everyone watching insane.
Mm-hmm.
When Ace turns on Joker because she discovers that he has been hiding her power inhibiting collar and keeping it as a as a just in case measure in case she turns on him. Joker really panics because he doesn't want her to use her powers on him. So that implies to me that the Joker is not insane.
Mm-hmm.
He fears that she will make him insane
Mm-hmm.
with her powers. and that he is not really insane at all. That he is just a horrible, horrible person.
Yeah. So the thing about Ace is the darkest, I think, the person that we all think of, to be honest, when you think of the darkest character, it's Batman. Not because he is at night and all of that. It's just because his reality is his reality, and that isn't something he hides from himself. He understands that the world is a cruel and sometimes unusual place, but someone has to help. And it's such a beautiful thing. The episode epilogue. I think it was epilogue, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
Yes. Where he was given this trigger to to um to kill Ace. But he was never going to use it. And he sat down with her and actually spoke to her like a human being. Like, she's a human being. And Ace knew that he wasn't going to use it. So it was just a beautiful, touching scene. And it was the first time that you actually got to see, I think, the first time you actually got to see someone giving her kindness without wanting anything from her other than peace.
Yeah.
And it sucks because Ace would have been like a really great, continuous character. But the way that they ended that was beautiful because Ace obviously dies, but so does the pain, the suffering, the having people constantly use and abuse and stuff like that. So I think Ace is a what the heck character again because it's relatable and it's a really kind of shitty situation because it would have happened again and again and again.
Yes, and also she is a what the heck character because that episode just came out of nowhere and was so emotionally impactful that brings people to tears just talking about it. Like, what the heck?
Oh no, I remember watching that. You had bought the DVDs and sent them to my house in Oklahoma, and you were still over here, and I was watching it, and you had gone to sleep. So obviously I wasn't on like Skype with you or anything, and I was just there watching, Flash and all of that, and then all of a sudden this episode comes in, and I'm like, I I don't know what's going on with my life. And it was just really, it was so heartfelt and beautiful in the worst kind of way because you want this character to magically survive. But whoever wrote that, I need to know. Y'all need to write a book because your life is probably just like interesting.
Unfortunately, Dwayne McDuffie, who wrote it, is no longer with us. So
You're just taking me back to that moment where Ace is being carried out by Batman.
except it's Dwayne McDuffie being carried by Batman. Oh, actually, that's really sad.
I know. That's why
Oh no! What the heck?
Yeah. So those are my what the heck. I do have a honorable mention. I was always gonna do this honorable mention. I did mention her very briefly before, and that's Amanda Waller. There are Amanda Wallers in this world, and the stuff that she did, I mean, putting someone else's DNA in somebody else just to create another Batman.
Yeah, R.I.P. Warren McGinnis's DNA. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Reproductive DNA. Let's narrow it down.
Yeah, but he must have known somehow, some way, or do you not think he did?
No, I don't think so. I think they would have wondered why both their children had black hair when neither of them did.
Yeah.
They probably couldn't think of anyone that had black hair in their family, and you know what? Maybe Warren thought that. What was her name? Was it Mary? Was her name Mary?
Might have been.
I can't remember Terry McGinnis's mother's name. Oh my god.
Mama Guinness. Let's go with that.
Mama Guinness. Yeah, Mama Guinness had been unfaithful.
Oh no. She would never.
No, I don't think she would.
Yeah. So do you think it's the brother. Wait, we've talked about this before. It's both of them.
Yeah, they're both Batman's
Yeah,
children.
but Bruce knows that for definite.
No, he doesn't. That's at the end of epilogue. Terry keeps it to himself.
Oh yeah, I always forget about that because I always like because epilogue is so sad. I think everything after Ace being carried out, I'm just like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care.
I mean, there's a bit in this imaginary.
I do care, by the way.
There's a bit in the imaginary confrontation between Terry and Bruce where, he talks. Terry says, it's too much of a coincidence that my kidney was a match for you. Rah, 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 rah. I'm absolutely certain that Bruce Wayne probably would have thought about that himself, and he may have come to that conclusion, but he did not say anything to Terry about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think in my heart of hearts, which by the way, my blood tests say I have pretty good heart at the moment, that he used his wonderful detective skills,
Mm-hmm.
and anybody else that was in that, they would have probably seen it before him. Because, sometimes detectives, no matter how great they are, they can't see the obvious in their own life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like the blue eyes, the black hair, the abilities.
Very tall as well.
Yeah. Yeah. What would be another honorable mention?
Oh, I'd say Clayface.
Oh yeah,
what the heck? Just
yeah.
all of his sad episodes, like bloody hell.
It's not even just a sad episode. It's just like the physicality of
the body horror.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely an element. Who else would be? Oh, Earth Mover from Batman Beyond. That's another.
Yeah.
One. That's on similar lines. The body horror, the pure concept of it all. Maybe we should stop listing some out because I think perhaps the commenters might want to share some of their what the heck villains.
Yeah. What other characters do you guys think are like what the heck characters? Because like I said, I confused myself with I made one character, two different characters and stuff like that. So I had a backup, and I have more backups. So there's so many villains that are just wow.
I think there was a character called Goldface who could just turn everything to gold. He's what the heck? Was his name Goldface? I think it was. He was in Justice League Unlimited as part of Grodd's Secret Society. The all gold guy. There we go. I said I wasn't going to suggest any more and then immediately did another one.
Croc.
Ah, all right. Should we move on to comments?
Catman.
First comment comes from RJ Productions, who says, "Remember Watership Down? BTAS is tame compared to that brutal bunny slaughterfest."
I have never seen it, and I don't want to see it.
Yeah, the distinction there is, though, Harry, is that Batman is a TV series, whereas Watership Down was a movie. They had different restrictive rules, so, it's like comparing an apple to an orange.
I heard about that movie when I was a kid. I think it was like an extra credit thing, which I did not do.
Mm-hmm.
And I said no then. I will say no now, and that's that because I love rabbits and I love little critters. And although I've seen some of the worst kind of things in movies and on TV, live TV, I'm just gonna for once in my life, I'm just gonna be like, you know what? No, thank you.
Okay. So, shall we move on to the next comment?
What do you think of Watership Down, by the way? RJ? Was that who
it was Harry?
Or Harry?
Mm-hmm.
Why did I say RJ?
Because it's RJ Productions.
Yeah, RJ Productions.
Name.
Harry. It's Harry Flu.
Harry Flutie.
See? I'm terrible with names.
No.
I once worked with a woman, a lovely woman named Sue, for 6 months, and I saw her nearly every single day. And I called her Jean for 6 months, and not once did she correct me. Cool.
Okay. Let's move on to the next comment then from Lowell Lucas Jr., who says, today's the day for Totally Schway. Turn on your devices. It's time for Luke and a giddy Mary. Reading comment sections nearly all day. Dear, don't I know it.
I'm not as giddy today as I usually am, but I am looking forward to the rest of the comments. I also liked the comment that we just did too.
So to continue Lowell, God, I can't even speak. Continue Lowell Lucas Jr.'s comment. He says, "Thank you all so much for reading this tome. It means everything to me, and I want to thank you all for wishing me well. I've got some good and bad news. First, the bad. My eyes are still healing, but I'm still in pain. I
Mm.
must rest my eyes after work and take extra precautions involving them. On the other hand, I'm getting a comic published and getting invites to comic shops to promote it. Woo! I'll be doing sketches of various comic characters and love to take requests. Now on to They Got Away with That." So that was the subject of our last episode. To begin, I certainly agree with you both that the execution episode of Superman the Animated Series, it was incredible and really pulled at your heartstrings, and yes, Superman did indeed come to Saturdays. I would usually turn to WB right after a new episode of Spider-Man or a rerun episode of Garfield and Friends. TV censors were an interesting breed, but I'm glad that Tim and Dini were able to creatively or just blatantly get away with adult material in their series. Whether this be Hawkgirl making the fastest man alive joke with Flash, yes, that was a good one. Hey! Or Dr. Destiny having a confirmed kill, his cheating wife, outside of Darkseid obliterating Jack Kirby in front of a live citywide audience. Yeah, he would have loved that, wouldn't he? I bet he would have. I would agree with Luke and say that few times Joker was allowed to use his Joker gas and Venom looked a lot worse than death. Nobody ever talks about it, but each victim looks freakier and worse each time. It's like they were trying to top themselves. Even Bruce and Beyond looked creepy smiling. Nothing creepier than a smiling, laughing Gothamite against their will. Also, speaking of, you can't do that on television. I really enjoy every single one of Harley Quinn's raunchy one-liners or anything involving her, whether it's Mary's favourite subpoena, oh yes, subpoena joke, or making ha-ha with Joker, revving up your Harley, or trying some of her delicious pie. Yes, I'd love seconds. Easy now. Yes, she's just a cute kid but a lousy cook. Even Boxy's alluring face seeing her made me feel like, well, I'm not alone here. And it's not hard to laugh at Joker's busy little bees comment, as you'll see both our victims sharing a single bed and holiday nights later. In short, I'm just Coco for Harley and glad we got away with it. And I'm crazy from Harley's BTAS movie, just not creeper crazy. He's crazy enough to cross Batman, but the IRS, no thank you. Well, you all, thank again for the awesome episode. I hope this comment gets read and not lost in the almighty YouTube algorithm. Thank you, everyone, for the well wishes. Now it's time for me to illustrate something while playing PJ's Thoroughgood Stubbs in the background. Also to Mary. The Broadmoor is a Colorado resort. Oh, okay. Coke for winter, Pepsi for summer. North, deal with racist South too much. Fave soda, anything citrus. Sharks, no. Killer Crocs. Trek or Wars? Wars. It's got to be Vader/Boba. Alba as Doctor Who? Hell yes. Street Fighter, all day, every day. Lastly, Schway jam would be delicious, but which flavour? It's a Schway flavour.
Okay, so I have questions about the citrus. Were you a Sierra Mist person, or were you more of a 7-Up or Sprite person? Because I didn't love sugary drinks when I was a kid. I found out the reason why when I was older, but I liked Sierra Mist. I could not have one because it would give me a headache very often, but oh my goodness, it was so good. I remember when it came out, I was like, "Oh my god." And do you like the new name of Sierra Mist? I think it's like Smiley or something. So yeah, those are my questions.
Answers on a postcard. Thank you for your comment, Lower Lucas Jr. On to the next one from Brian Jones, who says, "I'm surprised they managed to get away with the bikers saying to Annie, 'Past your bedtime, cutie,' in growing pains." Yeah, that was very creepy. Luke, I hope I don't gross you out when I talk about the creep that I knew at school in that last episode. No, it's fine. Luke, what would you feel if our government took over half of London, put all the dangerous criminals from all over the UK, and turned it into a real-life Arkham City? I think it would be a disaster waiting to happen.
But
Yeah.
have they not done that already?
But that was the joke I was going to make. No, London's nice.
No, I love London. I would not say that about London. I've had very great times. Very few bad times in terms of like because of other people.
Mhm.
Other than there's too many people walking in. I don't like when people walk toward me. I've never liked that, but as long as I'm walking alongside of them, I'm good.
But yes, sounds like a bad idea to me.
Yeah.
So to answer the questions, 1, if you are referring to England, I live in the south of England, so south for England. 2, I love Sprite, no questions asked.
Okay.
3, I don't care for sharks. 4, Star Wars, I don't like Star Trek. 5, Street Fighter. 6, That would be interesting if Idris Elba played Doctor Who.
Mm-hmm.
June 7th is the closure of one of my favourite Disney World attractions, Muppet Vision 3D. Mary, I know you're terrified of puppets, but please don't take great pleasure in my misery.
Oh
It was
god.
it was one of the saddest days of my life.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry to laugh.
I know the Muppets are like really near and dear to a lot of people. So I'm so sorry about that.
That attraction is one of the reasons why I am a Muppet fan, and my granddad always used to say that him and his friends were Statler and Wolf. Is it Waldorf? I thought his name was. At the attraction reminds me of him. I love your appearance on Gotham City Radio Hour podcast, and thanks for the podcast. I found a great channel called Arkham Analysis, which I recommend you check it out.
Ooh.
When I comment on the post she made on her appearance on it, she said it meant the world that I enjoyed the podcast and her channel. Oh, that's good. Yeah, I saw she was a guest on that podcast as well.
Awesome.
I haven't listened to it yet because I literally spend every waking moment of my life working, and I need to find a way to not do that. But that's a problem for later on.
It's a problem for Mary because she will end up staying in her room with the air conditioning on, watching random videos of the P. Diddy trial.
That's a great way to spend your time while I'm sweating to death in here going, I've got to get this video finished. It's got to go out at exactly 7 o'clock, because if it doesn't, then it's my schedule ruined, even though it wouldn't matter if I put it out at half 11 or if I put it out a day later. Anyway. Next comment is the Phantasm, who says, now this is quite the coincidence, because literally just a few days before writing this, I was thinking of asking you what DC characters you find either stupid or just make you raise an eyebrow that they even exist. The way I think this applies is for characters that are more supporting casts, most likely that are original to the DCAU. Perhaps someone that evokes the same feeling as Scrappy-Doo or Batmite in the old cartoons, although Batmite is great in Brave and the Bold. I know exactly who that is for me. A character I constantly find so utterly dull, so much so, I think it detracts from the show, who I wish was never even conceived of. I've just read ahead. To me, that is none other than Barbara Gordon's husband, Sam Young, in Batman Beyond. I loathe every second he comes on screen. He's not even an actual character, rather he's just there to have Barbara bounce someone off of that is more close to her.
Yeah.
Instead of bringing anything interesting to the series, he tends to echo themes and characteristics found in other more compelling characters in the show. Anytime he says anything, it solidifies that his personality is as interesting as drywall, and it constantly just makes me question, what on earth did Barbara see in him? And don't tell me that the reason she is with him is because he's a normal person unconnected to vigilantism, because quite frankly, I don't like that characterization for Barbara, hence why I've said in the past that as much as I love Batman Beyond, I've never really loved Barbara Gordon in the show. But she's still light years better than Sam Young. More than any DCAU villain, Sam is my most hated DCAU character. So much so in the episode A Touch of Curare, I always root for Curare to stick her sword in the idiot's head. Kind of got carried away there, but yes, Sam Young sucks and always will. Oh, and here are the answers to your questions.
I'm looking for my answers, by the way, if you hear me in the background.
North or south? North. Favourite soda? Coke Zero. Coke or Pepsi? Coke. Sharks? Sure, Great Whites. Trek or Wars? Neither. Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat? Mortal Kombat for the characters, but I don't care for fighting games. Idris Elba as Doctor Who? Sure, but I doubt he'd commit to anything long term. Most likely something like John Hurt as the War Doctor. Anyway, take care and remember, kids, Sam Young sucks. Oh, Sam Young.
Oh.
All he did was exist and try to protect the kids from splicing.
Yeah.
Well.
I love that, though. I love hearing that, though.
Okay, so let's move on to the next comment from Big Mikey P, who says that the DCAU ain't the Disney Channel animated universe, possibly consisting of Gravity Falls, Amphibia, and the Owl House. Yet. Daku sounds like Disney Star Wars planet Jakku. Yeah, I did think that as well, actually. I couldn't remember the Star Wars planet name, but I thought to myself, it sounds like somewhere in Star Wars.
I thought it sounded like you were trying to say something and it was misspelled.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's my phone auto-corrected DCAU to Daku, and I was like, what is Daku?
Yeah.
Not the Great Deku
That's
Tree.
why I say that. It's not because I think people will misspell something. It's because autocorrect does that.
But to continue his comment, he says, I haven't seen the play Cabaret yet, or any actual plays for a long, long time. Movie adaptations like Frank Oz's Little Shop of Horrors and stage love letters like Review Starlight I have watched, though. 409. Jealous. Though at least I ate some Graham bars for the last few weeks, although I do seem to have a cold lately because of it, or whatever. The Late Mr. Kent is an STAS Season 2 episode, guys. Timely episode if one has watched The Green Mile. I still remember the Oklahoma City Tower bombing of the last century. To think 9/11 would actually overshadow and yet still be connected with it.
Yeah. That was one of the weirdest times of my life because I don't know, I can't remember if I explained this, but that day my teacher brought in, that television everybody had back then.
That wheels out.
Yeah, that wheels out. And it's like the smallest little thing, but they make a big deal about it. Turned it on, turned it on to the I think it was News 9. And obviously, you're not going to know what's coming out of there. And the things that we saw on live TV that they didn't cut away from was absolutely horrible. And no matter what happens in this world, that is probably going to be one of the worst things that I have ever seen in my life, because I actually, it happened local time. My grandmother was in a building literally in the courthouse next to it, so it was just such an awful time. Obviously she wasn't hurt at all, but so awful. It's the images that we saw, because at first we thought we were going to be able to watch a movie, so none of us actually knew that it was real. So that was quite horrible. But yeah. And then 9/11 happened.
Yeah. But to continue Big Mikey P's comment, I don't care about innocent people. Death sentences are still a necessity. Oh, okay. And you'll be surprised at how it's quite an effective crime and treason deterrent all-round history, despite what critics would idiotically say. And yet all of these crimes still keep happening, Big Mikey P. If it was the deterrent you say it was, they wouldn't happen at all. And yet they still do. Oh, no!
What?
So I was getting very high-pitched.
I don't understand. I got what?
It's fine.
Because you did the voice, I didn't quite get it.
No, well, I was just saying that if it was a deterrent, then those crimes that are punishable by death wouldn't happen.
Just be good people.
Yeah, well, that's the aim, isn't it? Yes. 1138, forgot to say, any more these days. England death penalties were quite common during, say, the Cromwellian rule. Yes, that really wonderful time in history when he banned Christmas. Yes.
What?
Yes. Let's all celebrate that awful period of history.
England is so I'm sure a lot of you guys know, England is a country that was formed around Christianity. So in modern day England.
Well,
in terms of like the politics and stuff like that.
I mean, England's been around for a very long time.
Yeah, but
much longer than Christianity.
We know.
Yeah, all right, fair enough.
Yeah.
It was traditionally a Christian country.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that boggles my mind that they would ban. What was the reasoning behind that?
Because he was a Puritan. Doesn't want people having fun.
Is this a person that I'm going to look up later?
Yeah, I mean, you've probably heard about him before, because you read about he was one of the main people behind the abolition of the monarchy and was behind was it the first King Charles that got beheaded?
He was a nasty man.
Yes, he was, and they did terrible things in Ireland as well.
Yeah.
And
no,
you shouldn't really be like holding them up as the gold standard, Big Mikey P.
I think Big Mikey P, go back to thinking the Kardashians are the golden era.
Anyway, I really need to continue this comment because it's really long, and we're already like nearly an hour into this. So, I was expecting Luke to talk about the falls to the ocean and later rivers if BTAS is off balance. Anyway, can agree irreversible vegetative states are worse than death. Ask Deepa Bilaba in Star Wars Legends Shatterpoint novel, not to be confused with Disney Star Wars Deepa Bilaba from Canon Comics, which is Strike Through, the Bad Batch animated series. That subpoena line for the Sid the Squid episode is easy to get through the radar. I, as an adult, didn't actually get it until so much later, after all. Now, Aquaman's little fish lyric in the certain Batman the Brave and the Bold episode, The cut busy little beavers line from Harley and Ivy is nothing compared to Steven Universe's Peridot bumping both her fists to each other to visibly describe Ruby X Sapphire Gem Fusion Garnet. I think I've been watching too much sapphic fiction lately. Okay. From the Joker's favour, Cop Harley and Cake moment is nothing compared to her insert George Takei. Oh my.
Oh my.
Pie moment in TNBA's Beware the Creeper. Joker's chuckle gas truly is no laughing matter. No matter if a DC comic story is kid-friendly or not, it should still be a lethal concoction, even if easily curable or having the results being off-screen. You know, kids' shows should be more accurately deemed as family shows nowadays. Might get a more accurate term akin to Japanese anime Iyashike, comfort slice of life, considering solo non-family demographics like soldiers watching such shows in rec rooms when off duty. The Carter Hall Hawkman episodes for Justice League Unlimited, a show from 2004 to 2006, by the way, sure are something. Can't believe it, I didn't suggest those. Yeah, that's it. Hand in your badge and gun, Big Mikey P. It's the last straw.
That's not for me. You are always welcome.
Shows like Girl und Panzer will watch episode 5, the first and second OVAs out of an ongoing 11 and episode 5.5 recap next. And Phineas and Ferb, movies like Emperor's New Groove, and the first Megamind in games like Deus Ex 1 and Homeworld 1 and Cataclysm and Deserts of Karak are among my figurative antidepressants. For some, Vixen in Justice League Unlimited is Zoe from Firefly and Serenity. Meanwhile, Vigilante is Mal and Black Canary is Inara. Must say, Francesca Marie Smith-Shaw voiced TMBA's Annie and Hey Arnold's Helga Pataki quite well. I wonder if Helga Pataki is any relation to Michael Pataki, the Sewer King. Was that his name? I might be imagining it. Anyway, ha ha ha. Good shade against Dan Schneider, needs more shade against Butch Hartman, though. At least the emoji commenter ain't a bot, thank gosh. Dragon Ball Z is a fine anime, but I've already seen so much anime that needs more love, particularly some niche works like Mushishi, also Zedkai dubbed by Funimation, so to differentiate from dubs by Ocean Group and more, is better than OGZ dubbed by Funimation, but I have an increasing bias for Team 4's Stars Abridged voice cast. As an aside, where should one end a 65 episode Peter Pan and the Pirates cartoon run? I'm curious to want watching it, but I'm confused on it not having a proper episode order. I would watch them in release order then, Big Mikey P. 5434, Wax Seal to the Clocks. Thanks for narrating, Mary. 5833, Fearful Symmetry is just a test title, hence the preference for World Collide. But it's the title on the script that everyone refers to. And Fearful Symmetry as a title was used later on. I understand, but that's what it was called in the document. Where was I? I've lost my place. Binge is at a snail's pace. Actually just finished Anne of the Green Gables episode 13 before watching this Totally Schway video. ORI, oh my god. ORI, there we go. ORI is like saying Oa, the Green Lantern planet, and Rye, the film. Oh, okay, so I did get it right in the end. By the way, the St. Glow girls are nicknamed after tea, but I'm not going to bother saying their pronunciations. Just read a dictionary and some tea books. Yeah, I'll put that right at the bottom of my...
Period.
But I'm impressed that Luke pronounced Saunders Naomi right. The English dub don't recommend called her Naomi. Yeah, well, I say Naomi because that's my niece's name, and she's Japanese, so...
Yeah.
Meanwhile, my book binge is doing well. I'm at John Jackson Miller's Kenobi and Incognito. I mentioned that Pryor finished Star Wars stuff in the recent Flipside video and have started rereading Moby Dick 2. Mary questions. If we're talking the US of A versus Red versus Blue freelancers named Dakota, I pick North. Coca-Cola is his favourite soda.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess he was obviously going to say Coke over Pepsi.
Obviously.
Hammerhead and Thresher Sharks are cool and chill. Star Wars, obviously. Oh dear, for gameplay, I think I should lean to Street Fighter for more intuitive. For lore, however, Mortal Kombat fascinated me. Don't care about Idris Elba on Doctor Who. Get out, you're banned.
I'm leaving.
That James Bond chat is funny considering the IO Interactive First Light game and the Hitman 3 tie-in updates. Never much cared for Skylanders, Disney Infinity and Lego Dimensions. They sure never caught on, have they? Well, they did for a while. That's why they did so many of them.
You should have seen. I worked at Game. Game is like, it's literally GameStop essentially. Over here, I had people, not kids. I had people come into Game and snatch them up as soon as like we put them on the shelf, and I had one person snatch it out of another woman's hand, and they expected me to do something about it. So I went in the back and I made somebody else deal with it because the boys are mean.
Mm-hmm.
so they can deal with the ladies that just snatch things out of it. It was the Skylanders, that's what it was. They had some limited edition ones and it was just ridiculous.
So 2 women were fighting over them.
Well, one snatched. I don't think they actually said anything to each other. I think the other lady was just like, okay.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I think she was just looking at it.
Yeah.
Because it was there. I think she picked up a copy of GTA, so whatever.
Probably buying it for her 6-year-old little Timmy.
Probably. Work.
Right, let's finish off Big Mikey P's comment. Where was I? Anyway, I'm kind of leaning on to the Crash Bandicoot, Insane, and Spyro Reignited trilogies. I haven't played the console OGs much back then. For the next non-flip side, I pick Maxima, the Warrior Queen. That's the end of his comment.
Thank you, Big Mikey P. We might not agree on everything, but I'm going to tell you this right now. And I'm going to say something my grandma used to say. I'm going to tell you something, and I'm going to tell you right now. Idris Elba. We do not say anything negative about Idris Elba.
No,
that's not what my grandma said. My grandma would say, like, I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you right now. That's the thing she would use. But I'm sure she would love Idris as well. Honestly. And the reason why, he's a cool guy. He's a DJ. I think he plays video games. Oh my God, he has a company with his partner. Mm-hmm. That it's actually a good company, like facial skincare and stuff like that.
He's doing a lot of good work in Africa as well.
Yes.
I believe he's working with like solar companies to ensure that there's like steady electricity. And I want to say in Ghana, but I may have got the country wrong, and I apologize in advance for only half remembering these details.
So thanks for watching Totally Schway.
Idris Elba edition.
Yeah. Now we love you, Big Mikey P.
All right, next comment comes from the Gotham City Radio Hour. There's a podcast I went on a couple of months ago, and the episode's just come out. You can find it on iTunes and Spotify. You could just Google it. There's a clip of my my appearance on his YouTube channel. So if you're really curious, you can click on there and listen to it. See if you like what we were talking about. We mostly talked about Beware the Batman, and a little bit about Cape Crusader and how much dumb racists annoy me. But anyway,
I like Spotify.
Good. But to actually get to the comment, he says, this episode drop is a perfect way to start my Sunday morning. Thank you. No, thank you, Patrick. Always a pleasure.
Always.
So the next comment is from Doc Widener, who says, thank goodness you're here. I should start saying that with like a Yorkshire accent. It's okay, because my granddad had a Yorkshire accent. So
Yorkshire puddings are fine.
I'm not going to do it. Anyway, 3 options for DCAU. Driving after cannabis use. Okay. Data Acquisition Control Unit refers to a fully programmable, line replaceable unit that interfaces with various analog and digital data sources.
Okay, yeah.
Finally, the Andorran footballer. Okay, my guess is the middle one, maybe the first. Yeah, I think the first one made me laugh the most, so that's what it's going
The first one, driving after cannabis use.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Bowman's execution always surprised me because it was so fast, with the exception of Bowman and the brother of the singer of The Night of the Lights. The night the lights went out in Georgia, death penalty cases take a very long time to make their way through the system.
Yes, true.
As for the League of Assassins gas, there is a reason the phrase a fate worse than death exists. Yes. Neither of my parents went through that before they died, but I have had friends and co-workers who had to deal with that with parents, or in my best friend's case, his wife after she was struck by a semi that ran a red light. Oh, that's absolutely awful. The double entendre also went over Bullock's head. Yeah, he had to scratch his chin and think about it. Busy beavers is a phrase I heard a lot as a kid that, to my knowledge, does not have a sexual connotation. Yes, but it kind of does in the context of how I was going to say something then. That's no, I can't think of a nice way of saying it.
So when I first heard Luke say this, when I think of busy beavers, this it's something that, like, you would say, like, people like getting busy, not like the other kind of getting busy, but that's how I heard it. But yeah.
My parents and aunts and uncles would say it if we were making good progress on yard work, etc.
Yeah.
However, in the middle and high school in the 1980s, the other reference was common. Usually just between guys and typically not something a guy would say to a girl. Ooh, great Joker story idea. Some doctor reverse engineers the Joker toxin to make it milder when all it does is remove wrinkles and give the person a natural looking smile.
Oh, I'll take it.
Joker finds out about it and chaos ensues. Yeah, he's very protective of his copyright.
I will take that serum. Give it to me now.
I'm not sure if it's Parkinson's, but one of the Eucharistic ministers at our parish has something that causes his head to shake slightly. A Eucharistic minister is a lay person that helps the priest distribute the Eucharist, aka communion. Sometimes the priest does not give each Eucharistic minister enough communion wafers, or as Dane Cook calls them, Jeez-Its. Yeah, that's great.
Did you say Dane Cook?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez-Its.
Yeah.
Give me them Jeez-Its. Anyhow, sometimes they run out and put their hands over the bowls and gently shake their head to indicate you need to pick a different line. So, slight head shake occasionally leads to confusion. Yeah, I can bet that is the case. But most folks have gotten used to it and realise it's just his condition and not that he doesn't have our snack for sitting through Mass. Congrats on the new job, Mary. I mean, she said new job. She's had it for, since October? November?
November. Let's say November. I'll let you guess what it is.
Aardvark trainer. That's what it is.
Obviously.
Sorry, I spoiled it. They were fictional, so of course their banter was a bit better, but at times you two made me think of Nick and Nora Charles. Their dog has to be one of the most used crossword clues. Dragon Balls sounds like something on your list today. Yeah, can't believe they got away with that.
Why am I coughing?
Well, because it's a bit polleny at the moment, isn't it? I'm glad Lowell's eyes are slowly getting better.
Me too.
Finished White Lotus. I told the boys I call it the ocean show because I keep rooting for the ocean. I don't really get the appeal of the show unless it is for the occasional soft porn elements or to feel better about not being really rich.
Is that not just every HBO show sometimes?
Yeah, I suppose so.
I mean, no,
Not
I'm
the
just
penguin.
kidding.
Not the penguin.
HBO, I am so sorry. And I would like to take back, I'm not a perfect person. And I would like to apologize, Warner Brothers, because all of your television shows are just 10 out of 10. And I cannot think of anything better than a Warner Brothers / HBO show.
Okay. So answers for Mary's questions. First question. The answer is north. I literally live on the same road as General Sherman Middle School. I have Sherman pics to send.
Oh, nice.
Favourite soda is Livewire Mountain Dew before I had to go sugar-free. Not probably just zero sugar Mountain Dew or the Kroger brand version of it. Coke or Pepsi? The answer is Coke. Sharks? Adult, yes. Baby, God, no. Star Wars or Star Trek? Trek, mostly due to Deep Space Nine. EU and Legend Star Wars is better than Trek Beta Canon, though there are gems in Beta Canon. If Star Wars had more Andor in canon, this might flip. Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat? Street Fighter. Idris Elba as Doctor Who? Yeah.
Obviously.
As for Doctor Who, I finished the season. I felt the season as a whole I liked the season as a whole, and felt like it was in general better than the last, though Dot and Bubble from the last season was the best episode of these two seasons. It is a spoiler, but at this point, I could live under the same rock as you if I hadn't heard that Nkuti Gatwa left Doctor Who. I think I've mispronounced his first name there.
Was he the doctor?
Yes, he was, but he was he's in Barbie.
Yeah, no, he's really great.
Yeah, he was the doctor for 2 seasons.
Oh wow! I did not see. I haven't watched Doctor Who since Matt was on. Is that his name?
Matt Smith.
Yeah, Matt Smith.
Yeah.
It's about 10 years, probably.
Probably. The finale suffered from this because I believe this was a late decision despite some reports and required some reshoots and additional shooting, and the pacing and logic suffered. I wish they had been able to get one more special out of him, end the season as planned, and then do the regeneration in the special and perhaps answer somehow the mini mystery boxes or storylines that they left dangling. Did get a new car this week, a 2023 Kia Rio.
Oh, nice.
Sergey seems confused about whose car it is. I told him between him giving me a list box rules about it and the car being nanny-like, it turns down the car audio when the car is in reverse. I am tempted to return it and get an old junkier car. Really do need a third vehicle, but that one will have to be a beta car because we don't have the money for a second car payment. Jimmy the Jazzman Peak does not play any jazz. While the movie has issues, I did like Manny Patinkin's 88 Keys in Dick Tracy.
Oh, I haven't watched Dick Tracy in such a long time.
Next, we have Screenwiper, who's written...
Just talking to Doc.
All right, go on then.
Doc, I'm really happy you've got a new car. And I think it's okay that we all know it's Sergey's car now.
Sorry, I just had to take a drink because I've been talking for over an hour straight.
Oh, and I'm still looking at my cat who just moved. Literally, like, moved his head. And I'm like, I love you so much.
Next, we have Screen Wiper, who's written a bunch of mostly shorter comments and a big chicken update, so I guess I'll go through those quickly. 19 seconds. Thank you, Mary, for saying Detective Comics instead of just DC, and especially thank you for not saying DC Comics, which always sounds silly to me, like ATM machine. The last word doesn't need saying twice.
I thank you so much. When I say I'm gonna go to the automatic teller machine, I believe that's what it stands for. I just tell people I'm gonna go to the ATM, which I probably haven't done in at least a year.
Just say the cash machine.
Yeah, because I don't need to say the automatic teller machine.
Mm-hmm. 36 seconds. If your autocorrect wrote DCAU as Dachau, then I know what that is. It's a town in Germany, probably most famous these days for its World War II concentration camp. Yeah, it didn't write it as Dachau. No. It was
yeah.
DACU is how it wrote it. 28 minutes and 48 seconds. Bane voice. Born in it, moulded by it. I didn't watch a non-DCAU show until I was already a man, and by then it was nothing to me but blinding. That was a bad impression.
I know, I was about to say that wasn't very good.
Ouch.
You were not Tom Hardy. Is that what his name is?
Yes.
I'm terrible with names.
Note to Luke, Kutch rhymes with Butch, so it says like Kutch. All right, I'll try and remember that. 1 hour and 2 minutes and 37 seconds. Oh, God, I can't remember how to say this word, the TSE-TSE, and I would say CC, and it was wrong. But anyway.
Is it Sai?
No, I can't remember.
Zaza?
Well, maybe it was.
Zaza.
I can't remember. Was it Zaza?
Is it TSA?
No, TSE-TSE.
Okay, I'm thinking of something else. Never mind.
Yeah. Anyway, I would have thought it's pronounced tse, or to say, especially if there's an accent on the E. But I guess TSE is Welsh, and TS is how you spell ch, as in church in Welsh, which is why Kutch is spelled properly with an SH at the end, not CH. E.g., chili in Welsh is spelt TSILI or TSHILI, depending on region, and pronounced the same as English. So it's Chi-Chi.
Oh.
Chi-Chi, okay.
Chi.
I'll try and remember that.
Chi-Chi.
One more comment as you literally asked for it. At 1 hour and 7 minutes and 14 seconds. North or south? North. Favourite soda? Iron Brew. Pepsi or Coke? Pepsi, not the diet crap. Yes to sharks. Star Trek, not Star Wars. Street Fighter, but not but it's close between Mortal Kombat. Yes, why not? I don't care about Doctor Who. I think it's a load of rubbish, but it does have an excellent theme tune.
I think 2 of my closest friends today, one doesn't care for Idris Elba, and the other one doesn't like Diet Coke. What's happening to me?
It's devastating. I don't know how we'll recover from this.
What's the chicken update?
Yeah, all right, so I'm going to go on to the chicken update. So, Doris has made a full recovery. Obviously, she doesn't feel 100% as she is transitioning from youth to middle age, as I use hormones to force her from youth to middle age to stop her making eggs anymore, at least for the summer, to give her bum a rest. Okay. The hormones make her feel groggy and suppress her appetite, but she is beginning to get chatty again, not doing the epic rant she used to do at feeding time, but at least she isn't quite as underweller anymore. The hormones also make her molt feathers, but I can see the spikes of new feathers growing out of her too. She's going to get fluffy and look awesome. Mabel's health has improved too. She was getting a lot of... how do I say this? Cyanosis, yes, cyanosis. Going purple or blue on her comb, which is supposed to be pink, when Doris was poorly, which had her worried about her, but it happens a lot less now. Yeah, there's a typo there, but don't worry. Everyone understood. Cyanosis can be caused by things both inconsequential and lethal. However, Mabel has laid an egg 9 days in a row and is laying a 10th right now. I don't like them not having at least 1 day off every week. They need rest. But Doris has been subdued and harassing her less. Mabel's confidence has improved. She asks me for things more now. Hasn't got any better at using the feeder, though. Everyone is a good weight. Doris still a little scrawny, but as said, suppressed appetite at the moment. Wilma has put weight on and is her normal size again. Betty has managed to avoid putting on more weight, so has avoided fatness. Both Betty and Wilma are molting a few feathers at the moment too, so the hormones are keeping them making eggs for the time being. The rats are still a problem. There's 3 now. They invaded my garage and built a nest, but I destroyed it. The hens don't like them, but at least Doris is feeling well and brave enough to chase them again.
Might I suggest something?
A cat.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say a barn cat.
I got new bigger traps, but all I have caught so far are sparrows who are released unharmed. but pissed off. And I
Yeah.
swear sometimes the hen are stretching their necks inside of them and eating the bait. Someone is eating it without tripping the trap switch. I guess it could be the sparrows, but I have definitely seen the hens express much interest in the bait. I don't want to kill the rats, but I may need to poison them or buy a gun and shoot them. Both options present risks to the hens, which I hate, but if they don't bugger off or get in the traps, they'll force my hand.
Have you tried? Okay, I'm not I don't know a ton about rats, but what I do know is pretty obviously educational, 100% Harvard level. Have you tried getting some double Gloucestershire cheese on a plate that's on a big rat trap that's about the size of I don't know, your hand? Have you tried that yet? It has to be double Gloucestershire because I think Red Leicester would be a bit too tart for them, but it's also a yellow cheese, so
What about a nice Port Salut? Is that too soft?
it might be too rich for them.
Oh dear. So to continue the chicken news, there is an update that says Sunday of this episode's broadcast, Mabel has been very uninterested in her training to use the feeder lately. It bores her. Now I know why. Today she used the feeder all by herself right in front of me with no chickening out when the lid pops up or anything. It still makes her a bit apprehensive, but she's finally doing it. Yay. This made it the perfect day to give the chicken a reward they were going to have anyway while I was supposed to go out on a date, which she cancelled. Boo!
What a loser! She's missing out.
Doris's final egg. I fried it in lightly oiled and lightly spiced water, and then they all got to eat some. Mabel got to it first, but as the one remaining egg layer, she needed the nutrients, and she deserves it for showing me that she can use the new feeder. Next came Doris, and seeing as she laid it, she deserved that. Then Wilma, who has done some very good captain work lately. Earlier today, I put out a suet ball for the sparrows and finches, and the chickens said they wanted one too, so I put one in their hanging tray cage. Mabel and Doris got to it, and then Betty strode up and pecked Mabel and Doris. I told her off out the window, but she kept doing it, so I went down and told her off up close. Wilma followed me, and then I said to her, Wilma, be a good example and show her how it's done, and she did. She ate the suet ball and let Doris and Mabel eat with her. Betty complained, but that's how we do things round here, sharing and caring. Betty arrived last, maybe because of getting told off over her behaviour on the suet ball. She also behaved herself this time, so I think she's definitely remembered her lesson from last time. They all have worked hard for me. Doris rather literally worked her ass off. Oh dear. Oh, that condition with the swollen butt pipe is called salpingitis. Salpingitis. Vet mentioned it in writing now. He gets emailed his own chicken news sometimes. He's cheating on us, Mary. Can you believe it? I'm hoping Mabel will have a day off very soon, as she has laid 10 days in a row. With her having lost so many feathers, it was nice to see Betty and Wilma cuddling her and keeping her warm in the coop at bedtime this evening. And so ends the chicken update. Right. Any comments you want to share on that, Mary, before I move to the last comment?
I'm very happy that our chickens, yes, there are chickens, are doing fantastic. And I've said this so many times before, but actually, like, genuinely, can never say that word properly, makes me have a better day, because I wasn't having a great day for a little bit there, but it's become a great day.
Great. Good. Before I get to the last comment, I didn't see a comment from Julia Raoul this time, which might be because the comment got caught somewhere. But last time you asked for fun DC Comics recommendations. I mentioned the Superman series. I can also recommend Supergirl because it's very Silver Age at the moment, with stuff taking place in the bottled city of Kandor. She's got that comb that if she brushes it through her hair, it changes her hair color for her disguise. And Crypto's in it as well. And I can also recommend the recently concluded Metamorpho miniseries. That was incredibly zany, is how I'd put it, and I really enjoyed it.
What a great word.
Yes, it is. And on to the last comment from SR Striker, who says, well, this isn't the only show that got away with censorship like there's in the 2003 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles episode, Insane in the Membrane, and they cut an episode completely called Nightmare, recycled when it revealed that Shredder's right-hand man Hun and the Garbage Man are brothers, and also this forgotten cartoon, The Real Adventures of Johnny Quest, which you should check out.
Oh, I've
YouTube
seen
channel.
I believe it was my brother that would watch that.
Yeah, I remember Johnny Quest, The Real Adventures, the more modern one.
I think I probably caught a couple of episodes. I didn't mind it.
You should check out the YouTube channel Lance Faraway, as he does videos on that. Promoting someone else's stuff on my channel, unbelievable. No,
I say
I'm joking.
I say promote anything that isn't harmful.
And also, Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island and Extreme Ghostbusters were very violent shows. It's strange that the 90s Spider-Man cartoon couldn't say blood, but it's okay for Brother Blood and Teen Titans, but not for Deathstroke, because he's only called Slade, and it's strange that he feels like Dr. Doom than Slade Wilson, who is just a hired gun. But if I had done a few Justice League episodes, I would have an episode that is based on John Carpenter's The Thing, with this forgotten Hawkgirl villain called Bythe Rock. I think he was an episode of the Green Lantern animated series and body horror theme with John Jones and Wonder Woman, where she either loses her youth or her skin is no longer flesh but clay. And remember the Monster League? Not off the top of my head, but I'm sure if I thought about it more I would. Also about the Grace video, and I was really curious on that Harvey Dent thinks that marriage is going to fix all his problems, even though he only knew every woman for a few weeks or months and then jumps to conclusions. And it's a bit like in that Telltale game in his relationship with Selena. But she was just using, and he got the wrong idea, especially that he is vindictive and he blamed Bruce for ruining his relationship, just like in the tie-in comic where he accused Bruce of stealing Grace from him. If he was the Lancelot to Harvey's King Arthur, but at least that the Dark Knight, he didn't have a split personality disorder, but he does seem to be prone to outbursts. And I remember the Simpsons episode, the Michael Jackson episode, that the real reason why Homer went to the mental hospital was because of a pink shirt, but also Bart ticked every box on signs of mental illness, that you do hear voices, are you quick to anger, and did you pee yourself? I don't know how that's a mental disorder, as the Joker doesn't have that we know of. But as I said about the former, on that every problem in life should be solved by marriage, and I don't get what separates Harvey Dent from others like Mad Hatter, Ratboy, Luminous, Titan from Megamind, and Hydro Man, and Harry Osborn from the 90s Spider-Man cartoon. Did you ever watch those documentaries like Evil Lives Here and The Deadly Women? No, I've not watched those documentaries.
Like the TV show Deadly Women.
I don't know.
If it's that, I think I saw one episode on YouTube once about a lady that did something to her kids, and I said I'd never watch it again because of that.
Okay. I'm just sorting through the comments just to make sure I haven't missed anybody, but I don't think I have.
While Luke does this,
it's done. There's nothing else there.
I will tell you the answers to my questions.
Mary's going to answer her own questions. Wow.
Yeah. North or south? I am going to change my answer that I wrote down because everybody else did. But no, I'm not really going to change it. I say south middle, mainly because of that's the part of England that I like. If it's the United States, I would say past Washington and past Maine up to Canada, so north. Favorite soda, Diet Coke. Does anybody remember President's Choice? Or, like, I think it was like a super inexpensive one, or RC Cola, or like Shasta. I don't even know if they still make those. Coke or Pepsi? Diet Coke, obviously. Trek or Wars? Trek. And I put this on here, I guess. Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat? I said MK. That's not so obvious, but Mortal Kombat. Idris Elba. Idris Elba. And I just put yes. Yes. You don't like Pepsi or Coke, do you? This is not a Pepsi household.
No, I mean, I would pick Coke over Pepsi, but
it's not a Pepsi household.
I don't really drink fizzy drinks.
It's not, no. I don't even care if you did like Pepsi. No.
No, well, I think we've gone on long enough, and because it's like a sauna in here, let's conclude the comments there and talk about what's coming up next time.
Why don't you talk about it?
Well, next time we're going to do a special on Jimmy Olsen.
What?
Yeah, I know. That little scrubby loser dork Jimmy Olsen. I
Um,
hate him.
is this the start of Superman month?
Yes.
Nice.
Because the Superman movie's coming out, and you got to try and tie in with that a little bit.
And
And
with everything that's going on in the world and in life, um, I want to try to be a bit more positive.
oh no,
uh, because I need it. I really need some positivity. I think all of us do, because it's not been the worst time. Like, June has not been the worst time of my life, but it certainly hasn't been the best. And I want July and the rest of the year to be just fantastic. And I think it will be. And I am very, very, very aware that it is still Pride Month. So I would like everyone to just remember that humans are humans, and no matter who somebody is, as long as they're not hurting somebody, they're not gonna it shouldn't matter to you. And in the United States of America at the moment, they got rid of a very important hotline. So if anyone needs help or anything like that, please reach out to places like the Trevor Project and just your local mental health facilities. There are loads available. If I listed them, it would be longer than the episode. But just please, please, for the love of everything wonderful, you don't have to agree with everything about somebody, but being queer, being trans, being white, being black, being someone who still watches the Kardashians, we we know how to hate as a society, but we also know how to love. And I believe love can conquer, and it has in the past, and we just need to keep that in our mind. And we just need to keep moving forward and loving each other, even if we're having a really, really, really shit time, or somebody's giving us a hard time or whatever. Just, it's not acceptable if somebody's treating you bad, but just remember that person isn't always going to be, in your bubble. And there are other people that you can put in your bubble that are so, so, so much better. And having people in the queer community going through so much pain this month and everything with the rest of the world, with people of color and people going through awful eye situations, or what's happening in the Middle East. I think if we just take time to try to find something that we like about somebody. And I know we used to say this as kids, find something you like about somebody and then maybe it won't be so bad. Well, can we not try that as adults too? Can we not just live in the same world as everybody else and just be decent people? Because it's Pride Month, and it's very important to remember that love is love, and it's not just who you are in love with, it is the actual concept of love. And no matter what you believe in or what you don't believe in, the one thing in this world that no one can deny is that human beings have an extraordinarily awesome ability to love one another and actually tell them and to actually speak. So, because I believe the next time that we speak, Pride Month will be over, but I will not stop loving. And even if people are mean and horrible, I will try to find something that I can say in my heart. I don't have to say it to them, but I can say it to myself. Like, that person awful human being, but great smile. I am going to say that because I want to spread that kind of thing around, and I don't want to continue this cycle of hate because I love people and I want the world to continue to love. And I think we're kind of in a rut, and we've got out of this before. We will do it again. So that's what I want to say, and that's how I am going to end this episode. And I love you guys so much. I'm sorry I got a little bit deep there, but I really do love you all, and I want all of you to know that. Happy Pride, and don't forget to feed the fish.